All right, we are ready for variation 2. Now, variation 2 is really just a combining of the notes that you've already learned in the theme really well. So it's not nearly as hard as it sounds. It's very intense sounding. By the way, this song, when you have three flats, we've talked about we're watching out for B flat, E flat, and A flat. That's normally the key of E flat major, nice happy sounding key. But you notice this song is intense sounding. It's minor. Minor can either sound sad or mysterious or dark and intense, and that's what this song sounds like. So this song is in what we call C minor, which shares the same key signature as E flat. So that's something neat to know. All right, we need to look at the rhythms here for variation 2. I've written out a few things. Hopefully this is review for you, but let's go through it. An eighth note has either a single flag, or we're used to seeing them in teams of twos or more, or they can have a single beam. Those would be eighth notes, all right? It takes 2 eighth notes to make a quarter note. Now, 16th notes have either 2 flags, or if they're joined in groups of 2 or more, 2 beams. It takes 2 16ths to make 1 eighth note. Now, you'll notice in variation 2, you have a lot of these dotted eighth notes. Now, a regular eighth note is like 2 16ths put together. Well, a dot beside a note always makes it half again as long. If you're good at math, a good way to say that would be a dot beside a note makes it 150%, all right? So, if a regular eighth note is like 2 16ths put together, that means that a dotted eighth note is like 3 16ths put together. Well, that's how we're going to count variation 2. We're going to use the same kind of weird counting that we used on the theme, and we're going to let our eighth notes or dotted eighth notes, those are groupings of 16th notes, we're going to let that set our count. So you'll notice, as we look at the music, you start off with a dotted quarter note. It'll be a whole cluster because it's a chord on your music. And what we're going to say at that first dotted eighth note is 1, 2, 3, all right, because it's 3 16th notes put together. Well, the next cluster of notes you'll notice is also a dotted 16th note. So again, a dotted eighth note. Again, we'll say 1, 2, 3, because it's also like 3 16ths put together. Now, the next cluster of notes is only an eighth note, a regular eighth note. And so we'll say 1, 2, because that's like 2 16th notes put together. Well, as a matter of fact, all the other clusters of notes in the rest of that measure, they're all eighth notes. So we're going to say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, here's what you're going to notice. It's the same kind of counting we had at our theme. Let's see what this looks like on the piano.